Hi, and now welcome to the part of tutorials about using Photoshop in the sense of from the starting, the beginners. And this part over here, if you look onto the screen right now, it says to you that I did demonstrate that into class, but just in case you missed it or you're not too sure about it. So the skills that you need to have, like when you use, we can call it like professional software or like really good software, there's what we call a workflow. The more you have a detailed workflow in a sense that you always do the same thing over and over again when you start, then it's going to be easier and it's like a pattern that you follow and always do the same thing. So in this case, it's just that I'm going to show you, well, in Adobe Photoshop, the way that probably you should be starting to use it, okay? So you're not going to see my mouse, but I'm going to show you that if you go to your start button or the actual Windows little button on the left hand side, the bottom, scroll down all the way to, Adobe Master Collection CS 5.5. And remember, in order to use this, you have to be logged in under the LTCTS. You cannot be logged in under your own account of like the District 1 for the computers only. So therefore, you need to use the LTCTS, and the teacher told you everything else. So if you click onto this, you scroll down, you will see this Adobe Photoshop CS 5.1. Click onto that, and it will start to open. So this is what it's going to look like after it's open. So obviously, as you can see, it doesn't create a workflow, it doesn't create a place to work at first. So when you start with this one, is that you can be as precise as you want. And in our case, we're going to look at the business card. So obviously, as you've seen into the class, you need to have a specific dimension. Okay, so I'm going to go to File and say New. And then over here, you can actually just name it right away, which is really nice. So I'm going to say, okay, this will be business card. Okay, and over here, I'm going to choose like, okay, you can use some defaults. Okay, you have all of these part, but for us, we want to make a custom one. So we're going to use actually millimeters for this one. That's how precise it is. So you see, so you have the units of measurements. You can have like pixel, inches, centimeters, millimeters. Points, pica, and columns. This becomes to be like even more precise, but it will go to millimeters. So in this case, our width has to be 95. So no, sorry, 93 millimeters by 63 millimeters, and resolution will make it at 300. Okay, RGB color, that will be okay. The background will be white, that's perfect for us. And then you just press OK. So this over here looks like, oh, this will be a really big business card. No, it's just like it's zoomed in. Okay, so that's what you do when you start. You can go to File, New, and that's the workflow. Now if you go on and let's say, okay, you're going to see the power, like into the Adobe Photoshop, the power of Photoshop is the famous layers. So most of you, I'm going to just double click onto this to minimize this. I just double click onto that. You should see like layers over here. And if you don't see layers tab, you can always go to Window and you'll see like it's F7 or layers. Just activate this and you will get that. So if you ever get. So here's are the layers. You can add as many layers as you want. Okay, and as I said, like into the class, some posters can use up to thousands of layers. Okay, so it depends on what you're going to be doing. So in our case, when you look at the background, be careful whatever you want to put in. So over here, how do you create a new layer? Okay, well, it's simply like at the bottom, if you scroll over, which is really nice in this software, it kind of gives you a hint, create a new layer. So you can go in here and just say, oh, create a new layer, and this is blank. So therefore, don't forget, you can create as many as you want. So in this case, I could say, oh, this will be my gradient. Okay, we'll see that later on into another video. You can also create a new layer, and I'm just going to say this will be the shapes. Okay, I'll put that the shapes because you'll see it in a moment. Okay, so now what happens with layers is that you have to be careful which layer you're working on. Pay attention to that. Whatever is blue, that's the layer you're working on. Okay, whatever is not blue, you're not working on it. So I'm going to show you just really quickly, just to put the as you can see, press OK. So if I go in here and I'm just going to put a red brush, okay, you can see it also in the layer. But watch what happens if I go to this layer, okay, and then I want to go and just say, okay, I will change this color to be blue, okay, and I'm going to do the same thing. Now you see like, whoa, this I just brushed in this one, over this one, but it's showing to the background. It's because of layer structure. Whatever is at the top, that's the one you're going to see. So if I look over here, this is the like visible or hide. So if I hide this layer, so you don't see it anymore, you don't see the effect. Oh, now you can see the blue. Okay, so these are the layers that you can actually use. I'm just going to go and check over here. So your workflow, you've seen it. Create a new canvas for work. You already done that. How to create layer and layer structures. That's what you're going to be. That's what we've seen. Now blending layers. That's another powerful thing that you see into Adobe Photoshop. So in this case, watch what happens. This is what we call the blending layers. If you click onto this, here are all the stuff you can actually do to a layer. So in this case, just to show you what happens, is just that if you multiply the two layers together, or all the layers below that, multiply, you see that? So it took the red and it multiplied with the blue, okay? But mind you that if I go like this, well, I still have blue, okay? So if I go in here, I'm just going to use another brush tool, and another brush color, I would say, and I'll put it green, and I press OK, and I'm going to activate. You see like this little cannot work? That's because my layer was activated is not active, okay? It's blue, but it's like it's not showing. So if I go like this, oh, now I can see it. But I want to go into this layer instead, and I'm just going to brush like this. So now you can see that there's a difference between, over here I'm going to show with a pointer. You can see that, okay, yeah, these are multipliers, like this layer is multiplying the bottom one. So if I go like that, oh, these ones are not actually multiplying itself. Now, in retrospect of all the layers, you see that now what happens is that this green is over this blue. Can I get the blue all by itself? No. You'll have to restart over again. So therefore, that's the power of the layers, is that if you go in and just did that green stroke or brush in a different layer, then you would have separate. So you can change the color of blue if you wanted to, or green, or anything like that. So be careful onto the layers. So therefore, if I go into this one and I say, okay, yeah, this was already multiplied. If I go over here and I see another one, it says screen. Okay, I'll make it like lighter. If I go into anything like overlay, okay, those are things that, and we're going to play with these things. So therefore, that'll be it for just the start of what we've seen, the workflow. Create a canvas. That was the size. Name it right away. How to create layers, blending, and blending layers. Right away, before I leave, I'm going to show you also the most important thing is just that if you do not want to have many corrupted files, when a file is corrupted in Adobe Photoshop, it's done. You have to restart over again. So pay attention to this part. What you want to do is that you want to go to Save As. We can click on to save if it's the first time you do it. So I'll click on to save because it's my first time. Never save onto your network. Click on my computer, and the data D drive. As I said before to the classroom, you need to create your own folder into this one. And I already showed to you the structure. So I'm going to go back and just show you right away, just another reminder because we were just starting the semester. I'll go in here and I say your name. So I'm going to say, again, Mr. T, and I'll say Media 9 for an example. And I'm going to say open, as you can see. And I'm going to say this one, I'll say module 1. Or this is module 2 actually. And I'm going to double click onto that. And this is already called business card because remember when we did the actual first time that we open and the workflow, that's what it is. You press save and then press OK, and then you're going to get it. So now you have less chance of getting corrupted file because you always, and remember that is like always save onto the data D drive, never on your network, and make sure that you are onto the actual LTCTS account. Okay, so therefore, at least now you get a quick review, and I'm going to do another video that shows you the next part of all those about Photoshop. Okay.